Today we're going to check out Google Forms and in particular the add-on extension called Docappender, which I have found extremely useful this past year that I've been using it. It basically acts as a way to sort information in a really easy way. It really comes in handy when it's time to write those report cards. So the first thing that we're going to do is go and install that extension, which is Docappender. As you can see here, I already have it on my computer, so I'm able to skip this step. So I'm going to head over to my Google Drive, and I'm going to create a new folder called Observations. Now in that folder, I'm going to create a Google Doc for each one of my students. So obviously for tutorial purposes, I will only make a couple students. So student A, get out of there. And student B. So there we are, student A and student B. Now when I go back into my drive, I am going to create a new form. This form will be called Observations, and I want my first question to indicate the student. So to access the Docappender, we need to choose the drop-down list. And I am going to go to my add-on now. There's Docappender, and I want it to open it in the sidebar. So here it is right here. And step one is saying to target the doc folder. So since we already went into Google Drive and made a folder for observations, I'm going to go pick from Drive. And there it is right there. And I'm going to select. And the next step. Now I'm going to select the question that I want to load, which is student. Here you can include all of the above options. So for example, if you have every student in your class able to complete something that day, then it would just autofill it to all of them. But for this one, we're just going to put each individual student. So now I'm going to click Save and populate the selected question. And that will take student A and student B that we just created in our Google Drive and autofill them right there. So now we go next. And I'm going to minimize this just for a second, and I'm going to add on my new question, which we obviously need, and it is observations. And this you're probably going to want to do either short answer or a paragraph to be able to give the observation of what the student was able to do. So now step three, the form and value to be added. So a timestamp. Actually, let me go back here. Sorry, I did that in the wrong step here. Save and populate selected questions. And there we go. Now our observations are on there too, because we obviously want that as part of it. So select the timestamp because that tells you the time and date that the student was able to complete whatever act. We want to include the student and we want to include the observation, obviously. Now, these you can kind of play around with it. I think it looks best to have the separate vertical tables. And now we go enable. So we can minimize the Docappender add-on, and let's take a preview. So I can choose my student. Obviously, when you have your whole class populated in here, you'll have a larger drop-down list. So I will go student A, completed ABC. select another response. Student A again, completed. Oops. DEF. So now when you go back into your Google Drive and you go into your observations, and here's student A, and here are those two things that they were able to do. So we have the student name here, we have the timestamp that they were able to do that particular thing on, and you have your observational or anecdotal notes listed here. So like I said, when it comes time for report card writing, this is a really great resource. What I do is make I get the pre-filled link and I'll put it on my phone, and sorry, skipped a step there. I will put the link on my phone and set it as an icon on my phone. So when the kids are doing something in class, I just open it up like it's a regular app and I input all the information right there. That way I'm able to actually Siri something to my phone rather than sitting there texting away, like if it's something that happens kind of on a fly. So that is Google Forms, looking at Docappender.